Hey guys, and welcome to the video. How is it going today? So I used to give meal plans to my clients until I realized that it was making their problem worse. So most diets will give you some kind of meal plan, and people tell me as well they feel they need some kind of meal plan to reach their goal. However, in actual fact, it's probably the meal plan that is part of your diet problem, and it's not what you think either. And if you stick around to the end, I will give you 3 tips on how to make an eating structure. So let's start off by talking about the apparent advantages of a meal plan. So for most people, a meal plan gives them some kind of structure to follow, which tells them what to eat, how to eat, and when to eat. And if this meal plan is designed by someone that's asked them what they like eating and what they want to eat, rather than what the person that's designed it likes, then that's okay. However, it leads to a really big problem, and that is the black and white mindset. So basically, leading to you being on and off your diet. So let me explain that more. So this is going to upset a few people, but the problem with a meal plan is that when you create something rigid to follow, then there's always going to be the possibility and the times that you're not going to follow it. So yes, when you can follow it, fine. However, there's many times in your life where you're not going to be able to follow something, because being perfect is very difficult unless you lock yourself away and spend all your time preparing stuff and basically, don't enjoy life. So what happens when you can't follow the meal plan? What happens when you go out with friends? What happens when you're out and about? What happens when you're at a restaurant? What happens when you're at a party? What happens if anything is not in your control? Then you lead to just not following the meal plan. And because you have this black and white mindset, you're either doing it or not doing it. And when you're doing it, it's fine. But when you're not doing, obviously, you're just doing whatever else you want to do. So going back to obviously how you were eating before. And you can see that how if you're trying to lose weight, then that's not going to be very beneficial to you. So it ends up leading to this perfectionist kind of mindset. And you think, if I can't be perfect with it, then why bother at all? So on the days where you can't be perfect, you don't do it. And that leads to your brain kind of negotiating a bit, and you give in to things, you're tempted by things, you kind of overeat, and you think, this has been a bad day. So I'll start again tomorrow, but I'll just, because it's a bad day, I'll just continue until tomorrow. And then you feel guilty for overeating. And then maybe the next day you cut a few things out and you feel a bit more hungry. So it leads to you overeating again. And also maybe over-exercise to make sure you're burning a few more calories and you feel a bit more tired. So you feel terrible, really. And it pushes and pulls you all over the place. And so you're not really following anything, and you kind of make bad decisions. And so this false idea of a perfectionist mindset is what is kind of making you go off track, because when you can't be perfect, you just don't do it, which is the big problem with a meal plan. So what do you need instead? So you don't need a plan, but you need a structure, a framework, a way of how to eat, something that is fluid, something that is adaptable and flexible to all situations, something that's not black and white, something that's not something you do and don't do, something that's more gray. So if you imagine a scale of 0 to 100, being able to be always somewhere on that scale rather than a yes and a no, a 0 and 100, if one day you're not able to follow it 100%, you don't do 0, you maybe do 50 or 25 or however you can possibly do at that moment. You're always doing to the best of your ability at that time. And so taking out this perfectionist idea and mindset actually helps you achieve better results, because when you can't be perfect, you can still do something towards your goal. There is no perfect anyway, but if you can't be 100%, then 50% is fine. It's going to get you somewhere, rather than that black and white mindset where it's 0 and you don't get anywhere. So even if it's 1%, something is better than nothing. And so when you're at a friend's house, for example, and they put some food in front of you, you don't think, today I can't follow my plan. You look at what you're eating and think, today I will follow it as well as I can. And I can still structure this into how I eat. And so I can be maybe 70% perfect, and I'm not going to go overboard and sort of have seconds and thirds, because I don't need to. Just because I can't be perfect doesn't mean I have to be off the diet today. And again, like thinking about restaurants or anything else outside your control, that mindset of not having to be perfect is going to get you so much further. So a really important point is that there must be some kind of structure, because intuitive eating, which a lot of people talk about, has probably led to where you are now, your current problem, because your current way of intuitive eating is not serving your goal. So having some kind of structure and framework keeps you on track towards your goal, but it's not something that's black and white that makes it so difficult to follow in all circumstances that you end up not following it quite a lot of the time. So being somewhere on that scale of 0 to 100, whether it is 1, 50, 100, 25, 80, whatever, is always going to get you leading in the right direction. Whereas the black and white, where sometimes you're on and quite a lot of times you're off, then quite a lot of the times you are not even moving towards your goal at all. And so what is the structure? What can you do? And that depends on who you are. But the best way I've found is to use just a gauge to judge how much you're eating. And the best way is through using your hands, because your hands are always with you and your hand is relating to your body size. So everyone has a hand that kind of fits their body size. A bigger person will have a bigger hand. A smaller person will have a smaller hand. So if you go for something like, for a meal, a palm-sized portion of protein, a thumb-sized portion of fats, a fist of vegetables, and a cupped hand of carbohydrates, and that is some kind of structure. So that's what I mean by structure. And I've not told you what to eat or when to eat or how to eat, but it's enough to control your portions to actually be able to be consistent and lose weight. So as I promised at the beginning as well, 3 tips to make an eating structure. So the first thing, the meals you have to solve your hunger. Because if you are hungry on a diet, then you are not going to be consistent and you're going to be pushed and pulled all around, all over the place, and probably eat things that you don't really plan to eat and don't really necessarily want to eat. And that's not going to help you towards your goal. So the next thing is energy. So the food you eat has to give you enough energy throughout the day. So you have to eat enough. It has to make you feel good enough to be following what you're doing and basically, again, consistent. The final thing is going to be nutrients. So the food you eat has to give you nutrients to be healthy, fit and healthy. So that's the macronutrients, the protein, fats and carbs, and also the micronutrients, so the vitamins and minerals as well. So there we have it. Meal plans do not work because they create that black and white, on and off the diet mindset. A structure and a framework is what you need. And that can seem daunting because it's something new. Anything new is going to be more effort to learn in the beginning. However, it is going to be more consistent. It's going to give you more consistency throughout your diet. And when you finish your diet, you don't go off the diet and go back to how you were before, because you have this system to follow and it's grey rather than black and white. So you do what you can, when you can, and you're always working towards your goal, or always trying to maintain your goal when you actually reach it. Now, if you'd like to know a bit more about motivation and yo-yo dieting, I've done a video on this as well. If you'd like to watch it, it's just appearing there now. And as always, like, share and comment. Helps other people find this content and helps other people reach their goals as well. So see you in the next one.